Hey everybody, welcome. My name is Matt Johnston. I am Matt the lawyer. Before we get started, we're going to be doing a lot more of these YouTube videos, so I hope you will take the time, take a couple of seconds and click that subscribe button down there below. If you want to get notifications about new videos, also hit that little bell sign and you will get notifications when we upload some new videos. So today I want to talk a little bit about social media, employers, and employees. So here's the backstory. I had a client reach out to me a while back, and they have a pretty robust sort of system of uh, sort of connecting social media both for their employees and for the company. And one of the employees posted something that was sort of not really in keeping with what the company wanted to do in terms of its own image. So we'll just sort of leave it at that. And it wasn't anything that under normal circumstances would be offensive or anything like that, but it does kind of reflect poorly upon the company. So the question that my client asked me was, can I discipline my employee for that? Now, the difficulty is a couple of problems with this. Number one, social media it's rampant. I mean, obviously we can't get away from it, and there's kind of a blurring of the line between the personal and the professional, particularly when it comes to social media. Now, when we're talking about LinkedIn, everybody's cool with that. Nobody has a problem. And there's other kinds of social media which are intensely personal. But when you start talking about things like Facebook or Instagram or other social media that kind of blurs the line a little bit between the personal and the professional side of things, you can run into some problems. So in this particular case, the question was, can we have a social media policy that allows the employer to police what the employee is doing? As a general rule, that's a really bad idea. First of all, the employer's relationship with the employee is one of work and is work related, and you don't want to get into the business of passing judgment as an employer on how an employee conducts their life. There was the notion of, perhaps when I was consulting with some folks, the notion of maybe having a morals clause, and I got to tell you, I hate morals clauses. And the reason being is that you can terminate somebody if they are convicted of something. That's fair because there's a trial, there's a process, there's something that goes along with that. And you may be able to discipline somebody if they are arrested for certain behaviors. For example, if you are a business that deals with children and somebody is arrested for molestation, whether they're guilty or not, you kind of have to let them go. It is a question of propriety. It's a question of sooner or later that information is going to get out, and you don't need your customers having a problem with it. So there are certain things that you can do that can be delineated in employee manuals or an employee contract. But a morals clause in general is, when you have something that reflects poorly upon the company or is of questionable morality, the question you get into is, whose morality are we enforcing? And it's a very slippery slope, and it's fraught with the possibility of discrimination and discriminatory intent. So it's something that I don't really like in terms of a morals clause. So one of the things that this particular case had was that employees have their own Instagram and LinkedIn links on the company website. And so in this particular case, it was easy to put it back on the employees. If you're going to engage in that, we're going to take your Instagram link off of our website. We're not going to tag you in our Instagram posts, even when you do good work. We're not going to tag you as we produce our social media experiences. So in that respect, it was nice and easy. But you have to be very, very careful with these kinds of policies, because if you have a policy that allows the employer to pass judgment on what an employee is doing, you run some serious risks. So here's a story that it came out of, I believe it was Georgia. A teacher, a female teacher at a school, was terminated from her employment. This is a private school, not a Christian school. I think it was just a private school. Was terminated from her employment for having a picture posted on Facebook that showed her with all of her friends, and she was wearing a bikini. Now, they're at the beach. It's not uncommon to see bikinis, but there was this morals clause, and the school suspended her. Then the school ended up getting sued because it didn't suspend male teachers who were shirtless at the beach. So there was a distinct difference in how the two teachers were dealt with. And because of that, there was a discrimination lawsuit. There was the morals clause, and the morals clause was inappropriately addressed and was inappropriately applied because you treated a person of one sex different than a person of another sex, and in the same similar sort of situation. So that's why morals clauses are so difficult. And when you're dealing with social media, you are going to be dealing with people's private lives. And while it would be helpful if the employee did not engage in behavior that the employer felt was inappropriate, you can't really do a whole lot unless it's affecting the workplace, workplace harassment and things like that. So if you have this situation where the employees are behaving in a way that you, the employer, or that the employer would feel is inappropriate for the image of the company, the best bet for the company is to stop supporting the employees' social media and prohibit them from linking and tagging the company, and then also the company stop linking and tagging the employee. So be very, very careful with your social media policies. Writing the social media policies often involves things that you don't really think about. So for example, if you have a social media policy that prohibits discussion of the company, that's going to violate the National Labor Relations Act, because an employee has a right to criticize the company and management of the company. And social media is one of those avenues. So you have to be very, very careful and when drafting these policies. So if you have a situation where you're dealing with social media and employee behavior on social media, you should really consult an attorney. You can give us a call. We're happy to talk about it, and we can try and figure out the best path forward for you to maintain the image for your company, but also maintain some dignity and respect for your employees' personal lives. In the meantime, I hope everybody's having a good new year, and go out and watch some live soccer. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.